Hi guys, my name is Adeshion and with me is
Olawale.
On today's episode of Mailbox, we'll be addressing different mails from different people from all over the world. Our first mail today is from Simon from Atlanta. He says, my friend's cheating husband want to pay for my silence. I found out that my closest friend's husband is cheating on her with his colleague, who is also my colleague. We work in the same company, but he's a senior manager. He wants to pay me $10,000 for my silence. Issue is, I'm thinking of taking it to settle my mortgage. Will I be a bad friend for doing so? After all, she might even be aware of his infidelity.
Well, I think I think you've answered your question in some way, but more importantly, everybody has got to have a value system that transcends money. And when I say value system that transcends money, meaning that aside from you taking it or not even being in the conversation in the first place, what that means, what I'm trying to say is that if you got to know about something and you're trying to trade that information, the question is not even whether you're a bad friend or not. The question is that thing is going to come back around again, almost like a cycle. And then you will be faced with that same challenge of whether to do or not to do.
Right.
You shouldn't even be involved in anybody's conversation, whether they are cheating or not. Whether you are going to tell or not is another conversation entirely. I think you as an individual must also check your value system, what you are bound by. If it's a gift of money without the thing involved, then that's a clear-cut, easy decision to make.
Yeah.
I hope that helps.
Okay, so she's asking the question now. Is she a bad friend?
No, you already know you're a bad friend.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, anybody who trades friendship for money already knows.
Okay.
So you are just looking for validation.
Okay, so I think I have a different opinion entirely. So to start with, I don't think she's your close friend. Because I mean, yes, now if somebody is close to you, you shouldn't be checkmating certain things.
All right.
However, two ways. So you can collect the money and still report the guy. Hold on. So I'm sure you'd want to start judging me. So this is
No, I'm not judging you.
So this is it. If she doesn't collect the money and she closes up the conversation, the guy is smart enough to deny that it never happened. So you need some form of evidence that he actually attempted to buy you out of the conversation. You have to choose your battle. So if you claim that she's actually your friend and you guys are close and you want the best for her, collect the money, report the case. So you now be like, the guy denies, and then you say, here is the evidence.
So you collected the money for
No, you
evidence.
can return afterwards.
Okay.
Are you getting what I'm saying? But at least you want a friend.
Right. But the motive of this person is different.
That's it. So I mean, so the question would be, is she a bad friend for doing so? Because her motive is even wrong. She's already thinking of mortgage. The first thing you are thinking of
is to sort
is a
out
bill that you want to sort out.
Exactly.
So I think, first off, just like Wale said, you really need to check what you stand for, because you can't be dilly-dally. If you want to be that truthful person, come correct and come straight. Stop thinking of whether you need to pay a bill or not before you say the truth or you stand for the truth. So,
and even in the case of you wanting to do the good intention, the case of married people are the worst case to ever intervene in. I mean, there's the conversation in recent times about Offset and Cardi B. They were in court. She got pregnant, and truth about the matter is that you really cannot be in the middle of a married anybody. You can say that you are intervening or not intervening. They will settle the matter on your head, and at the end of the day, you're going to be. Well, it's not even about a bad friend. You'll be in the middle of the entire conversation, and it will be messy.
Right.
So it's better you stay clear of that kind of conversation.
Okay. We hope we've been able to address
That particular
one. Our second question is from Michael from Lagos. Michael says, my boss is always quick to insult. Hello, how do I deal with a boss that is always quick to insult and undermine my work? I've been working here for 2 years, and every meeting with my boss, there's always one derogatory word here and there, especially in front of guests. Words like, you are daft. Don't you think at all? You are incompetent. It's very humiliating. How do I handle this? I can't leave because I need
You need the money. You need the job. You need the money. It's actually the money. Okay, so one of the most easiest questions to answer, to be honest with you, is this. If you are a Christian, if you're a born-again Christian, one of the things I'm going to say to you is this. Every time people work in a particular place, you're working for God. And the moment you understand that you're working for God and things are coming up that are almost borderline demeaning as an individual, what you do in that particular space is that you start to pray for that boss of yours. The moment you start to pray for that person, you're not to change that, because anything that makes somebody starts to insult another person is a reflection on certain things on that person, not you. So when the person says you are daft, you are not, because if you are daft, there's no point being in the office. They could have as well just fired you. All right. So if somebody is doing all of those things, there are certain things that are in the life of that person that needs to be resolved, and that's why you pray for people. So when you pray for them, what happens is that over time, those unresolved issues start to get resolved. They might not necessarily stop insulting you immediately, but God will start to deal with that person in the privacy of that person, and you start to notice certain things happening. Number two, there are also some other things on the inside of you that needs to be addressed, because when those things are happening as well, God also wants to modify certain things in your own personal life, which means your own sense of self-worth is not tied to money or is not tied to people. Either ways, whatever the situation is, once you offer up prayers, what happens is that God starts to resolve those situations. It can go both ways. It can go your way, it can go your boss's way. But either ways, you actually get to a position where there is a firm resolution by God as to what that particular situation is.
Yeah. So in addition to what Wale has said, so I tell most people, when you gain employment or when you start work, your mindset should change, you know. So most times people see is either you have a colleague that is very rude, or you have a boss that is some sort. So it means that you first need to work on yourself, you know, because I mean, when you come out and expose yourself to the world, it's expected that it is your own values or your own value system that you're bringing on board. The implication is that irrespective of what anybody says, because the truth about the matter is, hey, this guy is concerned because it's possible that he's not there yet. So there are some set of people that when you constantly say negative things to, it gets to them and it throws them off balance. Probably is one of them. So first, he needs to work on himself.
Correct.
Okay, so in working on yourself, it means that irrespective of what anybody says, whose report do you believe? Who exactly are you? Because I've worked with several people before. I can remember my boss when I was at the villa. So when I was working at the presidency, then this guy says all sorts. But I see beyond the guy. That's why it looks like I can even work with an imbecile and I'll still deliver. Because I'm seeing beyond what you're saying. And just like you said, it's important that you pray for these people. They're also human beings. So you just feel that sometimes because somebody is owning a title as a CEO, or because the person is the boss, you've seen him as Alpha and Omega, he has his own shortcomings too. So there might be something that is influencing his life or that is really not making him act right that you can also pray about. So work on yourself, pray about it. And I know as you do that, you will begin to see improvement and change. Because for people that even insult, the receiver, they see it too, the way you receive. So once I start speaking certain words to you and it gets to you, I already know your weakness. Each time I want to get to you, all I just need to do is to press the button. But each time I say it and you just wave it off, you will get to a point that even in your own special place, you come to terms and say, what am I doing? This person is not even bothered. In fact, your life can actually preach to another colleague or preach to that person. So I think pretty much that we've been able to address your issue. So our last mail from today is from Chika from Eboing. Chika said, in love with my late sister's husband. My late sister died during childbirth in March 2022. Leaving behind a husband and a baby girl. Ever since, I've been helping her husband, Charles, with the baby, as he's new to this. The constant visits and communication made us very close. Now we both have feelings for each other, but I cannot get over the fact that this is my late sister's husband. Is there anything wrong with what we are doing?
We are. Okay, so they're already into the thing. So the thing is that every time you question something, anytime any question
second
comes,
guess, yeah.
once you second guess, there's something wrong.
Right.
The moment you second guess your actions, it's almost like somebody. So people try to look for validation on the outside that somebody should tell them what this thing is. And it doesn't. I mean, there are some people who have deadened their conscience, where they've perpetually done the wrong things to the point where they can't distinguish between wrong or right again. But for you to have asked this question, then there's something on the inside of yourself that is saying to you that this thing might be wrong. All right. So I'm going to throw you back to you as well. Because there are some things that are not. One of the things you don't do is to tamper with your sibling's significant other. There are some territories you don't go to, even if you have those feelings. I know that culturally, culturally some people are allowed to do that. And if it's culturally correct, you won't be asking this question. If it wasn't, it's something that you naturally would do without asking that question.
Right.
So for anything to come up where you're asking the question, it means that there is some check in your spirit about it. So my question would be, because even if we ask you to pray about it, your emotions and your feelings can override your desire for that particular thing. So two answers is this. Have you been consistent in taking the right decisions on other subject matter, and you know what your gut feel says and it's been correct? Because that's the only way we can validate what it is that you think is correct. Nobody ever says anything is wrong. There's even a part in the scriptures where somebody made an example to say, if somebody got married to somebody, all right, and the husband dies, the brother can marry the other person, and the husband dies as well. Another person can marry, and all of that, like almost 5 to 6 people getting married to the same person. And
there are even some that will have it as their last wish.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, if it's a wish, if it's their wishes, there are no clear-cut right or wrong on subject matter. We've got to just be in tune with what God wants for you as an individual. Because it might be right to everybody, doesn't mean it's right to you. It can be right to you and then be wrong to everybody else. It's a matter of conscience. It's a matter of God validating. And in some cases, for some people, culturally, they are allowed to do that. So all of these conversations are about that. But if you come to us to say, what I'm doing, is it wrong? Then maybe we should ask you too, do you think it's wrong?
Okay, so I mean, from what Wale has said, my own addition would just be that, so there are a lot of things that we want in life that if emotion drives us, we will drive ourselves crazy. Correct. So you must be able to develop yourself to the level that you don't let emotions drive you to certain things, So for you to be that close to your sister, it means you guys had a bond. And there are some basic rules, just like some friendship, flip culture code. Now, yes, they are just unwritten code that you don't want to cross the line, there are questions that will be popping up. Don't forget that probably the baby to already identify the auntie and the mom. There'll be questions too, and these things, some things that we do now, we should always think about the future or the ripple effect of what we are doing.
Setting precedent. Don't
forget that when it comes to issues of marriage and relationship, it's between you and the guy. If it was just a company thing that you guys want to decide whether we should partner or we shouldn't partner, you're good to go. But families should be involved, So the first family that the guy married into is the same family that the guy still wants to. Well, you two, you are married to. So
and
everything
and then the woman died.
You see now.
So what if?
So the thing is, there might even be conversations that probably they were already into. Nobody wants to know that it's because you guys have habitual practice or you people started growing the feelings yesterday. As far as I'm concerned, we are still within the death of your sister. Right. So we shouldn't even be talking about
marriage or emotions.
Yes, there are times that there are people that you have feelings and emotions. Kill it. That's what I would advise, because on the long run, so there's a conversation that sometimes most of the decision emotionally that we make before 25, they're actually wrong. Because that biology, that sense that develops that emotions doesn't start developing until 26. Right. So imagine everything you've done from 25 down. It means that you want to start rewriting all the story. So I think you should just calm down now. Whatever the emotions is, try and as much as possible to disengage gradually, you know. I'm sure, and then you also need prayers, you know, because sometimes too, some things, people's self-control differs. People level of self-control differs. Maybe they are so much in love. Fast forward within 2 years. So just try as much as possible. Pray for yourself. Pray for the guy. Pray as far as the situation is concerned. I'm sure you begin to see. I mean, they'll begin to see clarity. Maybe the guy will start hating you.
Not necessarily hate.
Yeah, no, but I mean there will be clarity. That will be all for this episode of Mailbox. Till next time, my name is Adeshan.
And I'm Wale.
Thank you.
Blessings.